You've been waiting for this game for years. The countdown clocks, the trailers you've replayed more times than you'd admit to anyone, and then the moment you finally load in and an entire world unfolds in front of you. Streets you can drive down, rooftops you can climb, an ocean you can walk straight into and disappear. You tell yourself it's about the graphics, the story, the freedom to cause a little chaos, but the real answer is far stranger. The pull you feel toward that open world isn't modern. It isn't really about the game at all. It's older than cities, older than farming, older than the first word ever spoken out loud. What lights up inside you when that map unfolds is a hunger that has been sitting in your body for 2 million years, waiting for a place to go. Let me show you where it came from. Picture your ancestor, not a caveman hunched in a cartoon, a tall, lean, upright human standing at the edge of the African savanna, looking out at grass that runs all the way to the horizon. There are no roads, no borders, no maps. Everything past that ridge is unknown, and something in him aches to walk toward it. That something is still in you. For almost the entire span of human history, your ancestors did not stay put. They moved. Small bands of people ranging across enormous stretches of land, following herds, chasing the rain, crossing rivers into valleys no human eye had ever seen. A single band could cover hundreds of square miles in a lifetime, and the children born into it inherited the same restless feet. The world was not a place you lived in. It was a place you moved through, a place you discovered, and discovery was not a hobby. It was survival itself. The band that stayed still, that clung to one shrinking patch of ground, starved when the game moved on. The band that pushed forward into territory it had never seen found new water, new animals, new plants, new life. So curiosity was never just a personality quirk. It was the exact trait that separated the humans who left descendants from the humans who vanished without a trace. Every single person alive today is the endpoint of an unbroken chain of ancestors who could not stop wanting to see what was over the next hill. The wanting is not a choice you made. It was made for you long before you were born at the level of chemistry. Here's where it gets strange. In 2006, two neuroscientists named Nico Bunzik and Emre Duzel ran an experiment to find out what novelty actually does inside the human brain. They showed people images, some familiar, seen many times before, some completely new, and they watched a tiny region buried deep in the midbrain, a cluster of cells that floods the brain with dopamine, the chemical of wanting, of motivation, of reward. The familiar images did almost nothing, but the new ones changed everything. The instant something novel appeared, that ancient region lit up like a struck match. Your brain, it turns out, is not paid for what it already knows. It is paid for what it has never seen before. Novelty itself, before any treasure, before any prize, before any payoff at all, is the reward. You were built to be pulled toward the unknown and to feel good the moment you reach it. Now think carefully about what an open world game actually is. It is a machine for manufacturing novelty, a world so large you cannot possibly see all of it at once, a horizon that keeps generating new streets, new missions, new strangers, new secrets folded behind buildings you haven't reached yet. Every corner turned is a small dose of the unknown. And the map. Watch what the game does with the map. It starts blank or gray or hidden, and as you move, it fills in. Piece by piece, the fog pulls back, and territory that was nothing becomes yours. That feeling, the quiet satisfaction of a map filling in, is not an accident. It is one of the oldest rewards your species knows. Your ancestors were the first cartographers, drawing the shape of the world not in paper, but into memory, one ridge and river and watering hole at a time. When you clear the fog on a digital map, you are doing the exact thing they did on foot. You are turning the unknown into the known, and your brain pays you for it the same way it always has. You are not playing a game. You are foraging. But there's a piece we haven't touched yet. The title didn't say every human. It said every man, and that word is not an accident either. In the 1980s and 90s, two evolutionary psychologists, Martin Daly and Margot Wilson, studied a pattern that appears in nearly every human society ever recorded. They gave it a name, the young male syndrome. Across cultures, across continents, across centuries, young men take more physical risks than any other group of people. They travel further, they compete harder, they are drawn more strongly than anyone else to speed, to danger, to the sharp edge of the unknown. Why would evolution build that? Because for most of human history, the young man who took the risk was often the young man who won. He was the one who ranged furthest and found the new ground. He was the one who explored the valley no one else dared enter, who proved himself in ways that decided whether he would have status, allies, a future at all. In that world, playing it safe was quietly the most dangerous strategy of all. The result is a brain tuned, on average, to crave the precise things an open world is engineered to serve: speed, freedom, territory, risk stripped of its real consequences. A world with no fence around it and no one telling you where you can and cannot go. Does that sound like anyone you know? And there was one more researcher who saw this hunger clearly, decades before a video game could feed it. His name was Marvin Zuckerman, and in the 1960s he set out to measure a single human trait. He called it sensation seeking, the drive to chase new, intense, varied experience, and the willingness to accept risk in order to get it. He built a scale to score it, person by person, and he discovered that we are not all built the same. Some people sit low, genuinely content with the familiar and the calm. Others sit high, restless, bored quickly, forever reaching toward the next new thing. The high scorers shared something underneath. They ran out of patience with routine faster. They needed a stronger signal to feel alive. Their brains, Zuckerman argued, simply answered novelty and risk with a louder yes. Now hold that against the world you actually wake up in. You open your eyes in the same room. You take the same route to the same building. You sit in the same chair and stare at the same glowing screen until it's time to go home. The modern world is astonishingly safe. It is also astonishingly small. Every road already has a name. Every mountain has already been climbed and photographed and pinned on a map you can open with your thumb. The last blank spaces were filled in generations ago. For the first time in the entire history of your species, there is nowhere left to explore. But the drive did not disappear. That is the whole problem. Evolution is unimaginably slow. Cities are unimaginably fast. Your body is still running instructions written for a world of open plains and unmapped horizons, and it is running those instructions inside a cubicle, on a commute, behind a desk. The urge to range, to explore, to push into ground no one has covered is firing inside you every single day of your life. It simply has nowhere to go. So what happens to a 2-million-year-old drive with no outlet? It goes looking for a substitute. And here is the twist that changes everything. What you have been told is escapism, laziness, a waste of time, a grown man playing pretend is in truth something far older and far more honest than that. When you load into that open world, you are not running away from real life. You are running back towards something real life quietly took away from you. The frontier. The game hands you back the one thing the modern world deleted without asking, a horizon that means something, ground nobody has already crossed on your behalf, a world you get to uncover with your own hands instead of scrolling past a version someone else already filled in for you. Give yourself a fast car in that world and the feeling sharpens, because covering ground at speed is the purest expression of a ranging animal there is. You are doing in minutes what your ancestors spent days doing on foot. eating distance, turning the far into the near. The psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi spent his life studying a single state he named flow, the feeling of being so completely absorbed in a challenge that time falls away and the noise in your head goes silent. He found it in climbers and surgeons and painters and chess players, and it turns out a well-built open world is a nearly perfect flow machine. Clear goals, constant feedback, a challenge that rises exactly as fast as you do. The same total absorption your ancestor felt tracking an animal across open country for half a day, handed to you through a controller in a dark room. You have felt it, that hour that simply vanished, that moment you looked up and the room had gone dark around you and you had no real idea how long you'd been gone. That was not wasted time. That was your oldest self for a little while coming home. So why does every man want GTA 6? Not for the graphics, not for the chaos, not even for the story. He wants it because somewhere beneath the office clothes and the calendar invites and the roads that all already have names, there is still a lean, upright human standing at the edge of the tall grass, staring at the horizon, desperate to know what lies past the ridge. That human never left. He never stopped wanting. He simply ran out of places in the real world where he was allowed to walk. And every time a new world opens up on that screen for a few short hours, he gets to walk again. You've been waiting for this game for years, and the whole time you told yourself it was about the game. It was never about the game. It was about going home.